Again. Live, 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 live. Hey, it is so good to be back here with you in this evening realm that only happens once a month, Thursdays at 5 p.m. Pacific. And so it's good to be here with you with the light going down in the sky. And wherever you are in the world, I know that we're sitting in this beautiful circle together, creating and looking at what it is that you want to grow and create in your life that is interconnected with imperfect parenting and being a parent on this planet, whether it's to yourself or creating that new family with midlife pregnancy and fertility. And so it's an honor to be here with you, looking at different aspects of that and allowing you this space right now to ask questions and dig in a little bit to what's coming up. So I'm going to sit for just a moment and have a breath with you, whether you're here now or on the replay, and just kind of come into the room, because I don't know about you, but there was a lot that happened throughout the day to get me to this place right now with you. And I love just connecting in with myself, with you, and with the earth in this moment, just sort of standing still. This is your space. This is our space right now. And so we got to claim it and take a few breaths there. So let's take a couple breaths. I love the 3 deep breaths. So especially since it's evening here for me, or maybe you're starting your day, just take a deep breath in, gathering all the energy that you need for this moment, and exhaling out that which you don't need, that's not yours. Ground it down into the earth. Take another deep breath in and exhaling out, connecting to yourself and source, all the possibilities that you need and want to hear, and then inhaling again, feeling the optimal health and possibility, the vision of how things can be, and exhaling out. All that which creates the bumps and lumps and discomfort and, takes away from the experience. This is your time, not only with me, but this phase, this period, and whether you are on your way to getting pregnant or you already are, remember that you also get to create this sacred space for you. Now, whether you're spiritual or religious or none of the above, creating space, whether it's energetic space or physical space, boundaries, just that time to reconnect with what's important for you on your path is very, very, very important. And if you can start it now, before this next phase fully unfolds, then it gives you an immense foundation for being able to have that space with your partner or your support team as you move forward. When you're a very imperfect parent, if you aren't already, and just being you and out in the world. It allows this firmer foundation. So I'm going to open my eyes. Maybe you've had your eyes open the whole time. I don't know. And just come into this moment with me, looking at what's actually coming up as you opened your eyes or you stopped breathing or listening to me. In that silence, is there anything that comes? And if you want to share that in the comments, of course, I'm very thankful for that, because I love being able to respond to you, to answer, to speak to what's coming up. As I'm sitting here, worry is what comes up. Someone actually just before this live, interestingly enough, we ran into each other in the street because kids like each other. And she said, oh, my sister just wrote me that she's pregnant. It's so exciting. And she's in her early 40s. And, what I think of is, all the excitement and yet tension that comes at the same time, knowing that in this particular country and in some countries around the world, there's this tension around that in the medical world, and in many families of, we've bought into the worry about, what's anticipated, what is going to be your experience. And it's interesting because I was talking with a very dear friend of mine who also had her daughter late. Maybe you'll hear her story at one point. And we were talking about, so, it's that whole chicken or the egg, like what comes first. So you've heard me talk about, you know, is it makia? I think I might get that wrong. Excuse me. If you're Hawaiian, you might know. Energy flows where attention goes. So if attention is going on, I'm going to have problems, then very likely you will. And that's not just with pregnancy, that's life in general, or something's going to happen to me. Often I find that does pull those things to you. The question is sometimes, are you feeling something that's going to come, or are you attracting it? It's a tricky one. As a person who tends to be somewhat clairvoyant, how since I was small, and who has one of those people in her, quite a few people like this in my life. It's often a question: is your intuition, your knowingness, is that telling you something, or and can you change it? It is a free will place that we live in, right? There's free will. So even if there's destiny, there are other different paths, and so you do get to choose that. And that's a tricky thing. But that's where, we've talked so much about energy and what you choose to engage with, who you choose to engage with, and how important that is. You know, who's in your circle, because it affects you, they affect you. The hospital that you choose, the midwife that you choose, the doctor that you may choose, doctors. And this is why, we talk so much about the importance of having a support team, because those different people will have different energies, different personalities that will support you in different ways. Same thing with a friendship circle, right? You've got the people who are like deep in your heart, and you trust completely. You can say anything. You can be that worst version of yourself, and the love is still there. And then there are the other people that maybe you don't want to show that worst version, and so you make more of an effort to keep the facade. And it's kind of exhausting to keep the facade, but there are circles where that happens. That's what it is. And okay, everything serves a purpose, and it's a venue for learning, right? So I'm thinking about that worry and whether or not to engage with that. My vote's going to be no. And at the same time, it's what we've talked about before. There's that keeping aware and educated, but not to the extreme. Don't sit there online for hours and hours. I did it. It's painful. It's exhausting. It's ridiculous. But it felt like I was somehow in control, and I totally get that. If there are moments where that's important, then do it. Gather information. If you start to feel your body tense up and get triggered, whether that's about what fertility treatments to do or what tests to take if you're already pregnant, follow that tension. If there's like, let me reevaluate this. Let me look at this with my partner, my family, the people that matter to me. And in the end, you're still going to make the decision, or you and your partner, if you're doing it with somebody, right? Ultimately, you have to find that decision within yourself to help you not feel worried. So, it's like the conversation that's happening right now. And I have people who are on opposite sides with what's happening in the world and decisions people are making and not making, and all the angst and the anger and the frustration. And it comes down to the same thing. You have to do what allows you to be relaxed and not worry. That's the answer. It's not that I decide for you or someone else what is right for you and your baby and your family. Because what relaxes me might not be the thing that relaxes you, and vice versa. So I know that I needed multiple personalities around. That sounds like something else than I meant. But, I had one person who's a little bit more western, east meets west, somebody who was way far out here. And then, somebody in the middle with me, and, acupuncture and herbs and alternative therapies and treatments and awakenings and different types of foods. And there were so many, for me, that diversity was so important because it helped me to feel like I was gathering the information that I needed so that I didn't have to worry, so that I could relax. Now, that said, you got to find what allows you to relax and not worry. And there are things you can't control everything. Midlife or not, things will happen or they won't. There are some things that are part of our path, part of your path, that I don't know and you don't know. They're part of that learning. So part of that is if you have an idea, I need to be needed, or uh, I I don't know, whatever your thought might be, it might be to work through some of that to make sure that you don't end up in an extreme situation when possible. There are moments where you can influence your path and destiny, and there are other times where it's already set in motion. And, uh, it's working with that deep acceptance and trust in your own path, and trust when something comes up. If you have a test and there's a certain result when you are pregnant, it would be like, how do I feel about that? I mean, that's the biggest thing, especially when it's constantly talked about as a midlife person is, you know, um, oh, you could be, diabetic during pregnancy, or there could be this, and this issue, or there could be the spinal issue. And, there's so many things, but that's at any age. Sometimes there will be higher numbers, maybe in some realms. And I really believe that if you are, there goes that light, if you are taking the supplements that feel right for you, and you are supporting yourself in the way that you need, and you are clear on what you want and who you want to bring in without all the details, because you can't possibly know, but that you want to support your child in the way that they need, that still allows you as an independent person. Because more than likely, if you're at this point, you've kind of got your groove, right? You're doing fertility over 40, you've got your groove, and you need an experience that allows that rather than kind of sucks you into, taking care of somebody for the rest of your life. Now, that may happen still. Can't control that. That's a worry. Like I said before, I felt like, like from my skydiving days, the day of her Ella's birth, I was like, it's like jumping out of the airplane. Let the parachute open, please. Let everything be okay. Let my intuition be right. Let my feeling be right. And you have to come into that deep trust of your body and your feeling of what is the best way forward. So I'm just wondering in this moment, I'm going into the way in which to work with worries. Of course, I'm going to come back to mindfulness. If you have a practice that allows you to ground in, it's not just about what other people can do for you, though a great massage and some acupuncture can be great. It's also about what practices you have for yourself, daily practices that will really help you to make those choices and let the worry float away. I want to say thank you for being here. We're not finished, but if this is interesting for you, please do like and subscribe if you are new here. And there are always some freebies down in the description, as well as I think I have the link for tomorrow morning, as I always do on the first Friday of every month. It's at 9:30. So, and normally it's 10 Pacific. So that's in there too. And then you can jump in and, get to know all the good stuff. I'm going to be doing some new free things coming up in the next weeks. But I'm working on some things. And tomorrow, probably, I have a new video coming out. For those of you who aren't on my list, I mean, I will make it public. Those who are, you probably already saw it. So there'll be another one later. Otherwise, right now, I'd love to take a moment to answer any questions if you have them. I see somebody's popping in and off. Maybe they have crazy internet like I do. Uh, and so, if you have any questions, I would love to answer those right now. If you're coming in on the replay, then pop those in. And of course, I'm happy to I'm just checking the comments. And I'm happy to answer those. I do answer them. I get to them. Sometimes it takes a couple of days. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I'm right there in it, digging around and exploring, and I get to see your questions pop up. And it's such a beautiful connection to feel that moment with you of, you know, getting to be present for you. And I'm honored for that. So, if you have a question, now is a good time, or if there's something that you'd like to address that's a worry, or you're struggling with, or you're excited about, it can also be good news. I'm happy to dig in with you a little bit, or have some fun, or have a woohoo, you're pregnant, or yay, you found a good support person. You can also celebrate what you're discovering for yourself. That is great. So I am here for those questions, and I will wrap up otherwise at 5:22. I love my number 22. It was just 2 to 22. And I know it was really fun. I love that because it's the universal number is 11. I'm, by the way, buying time. You can ask any questions or put in any comments anytime. I'm just, chatting away. You know me. 11 is a universal number. Double that is 22. It comes up all the time, pops up on my phone, addresses. I remember walking down the street in Barcelona, and I looked up, and there was, I love my blues, the ocean blues. There was a beautiful tile, and it was multiple blues, and there was the address 22. And I was looking around, and I'm thinking, what's happening here? Is there something that's supposed to happen here? Those little things that kind of trigger a moment of paying attention to the signs. I'm wondering if you have something like that too. Maybe you do. So that's what we're talking about today is worries and working with them, maybe what you work with them, like what tips and tricks you have that help you to move through those kinds of moments where somebody might be saying something or something pops in your mind or comes into your sphere, and then you think, oh, you know, hmm. And that's a hard moment. Anything, anything there? I see you there, and I just want to say hi and thank you for being here. And yeah, I think that's where we're gonna end. We're getting close to 22. The chat is disconnected. Please wait while we try to reconnect it. Oh, it's reconnected. I don't know why that happens. It's really bizarre. um, but you know, I don't know if you can tell here. Can you tell what those are? Like that is that's sacred geometry. I got that in Bali. This one here is from India, though it actually came from Fairfax, California, which is a place deeply connected to the world for sure. Can you tell what's there? Those are dragonflies. And the dragonfly is such an incredible, and it's a big symbol inside of our lives. And the dragonfly is an important reminder because the dragonfly, which has shown up for decades in our world, the dragonfly in Native American belief is it's a reminder of not doing the same thing again, expecting different results, which of course Einstein said is the definition of insanity anyway. So, but we do it. We have patterns. I know that you have things like that too, that you think, oops, I did that again. It just happens. And so the dragonfly is that reminder of, not doing the same thing again, because what dragonflies will do is they'll just keep looking for food and water in the same place and they die. Not that you're going to die. This is more just, but dreams can die and energy can, not rejuvenate. So there's that. So I am going to wrap up and say thank you for being here. And remember that it's Mercury retrograde, though it's starting to fade out. We still have a couple of weeks plus 2, 3 weeks of fading out. So you might still see things coming up and having issues around, communication, technology, meeting up, mechanical things. Just be prepared for it. So if your test comes back not the way you hope, or you order something and it's breaking down, or with your relationship, you're butting heads and you feel like you're so clear, but somehow you're missing, just take some deep breaths, find patience, and have grace with yourself and with the people around you, and allow that, unfolding into, the fact that Mercury is not fully available. The great thing that you can do now or be aware of is that people pop into your life you haven't seen for a while. And there's also um, you can things like redo things and revisit and repost, redecorate. I don't know, whatever your is. Think about what things you'd like to return to that might need some revitalizing, and maybe it's reorganized. I love doing that during this time, like getting things done, getting things off the list. And I hope that for you too, including some of those worries. All right. I wish you a beautifully imperfect week. And if you're coming on tomorrow at 10 Pacific, I will be here on a different link, but I'm here and you can look me up, Ariel Anderson, SSON, not the porn star. And I'm here. If you look up live, it'll pop up. All right. Mwah. I'm Coach Ariel Anderson here, shining a light, guiding you to your joy and midlife health, and maybe even that family you'd like to create. Da-da-dun-dun, 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 da-da-da-da.